everybody, and welcome to The Very Worst, a podcast that is only about all of the Pokemon movies. I am your host, Matt Ocamp. With me is your host.
Yes, I am also a host, Pat Reber.
And with us is your host.
I am the third host, Ashley Stoneman.
And we are all hosts together. We host with each other.
Which one of us has the most?
Matt, don't you ever try to pull that shit again.
Guys, we are here today in late October for a Halloween Spooktacular. Our Halloween Spooktacular.
Right, the scariest episode yet.
Ooh, ghosts and goblins.
Ooh, spooky.
And a mummy man.
Vampires.
So, we're also just going to talk about the movie,
School
the
principals.
fifth theatrical Pokemon movie, our sixth movie, Pokemon Heroes, Latios and Latias.
Which is Spanish for the uncles and the aunts.
Is that true?
That's if you put a space between La and Tios and Tios. Yes.
Oh, because like in Breaking Bad, his uncle is called...
Tio. That's Spanish for uncle.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. Learned a little something. Listen to this podcast.
You know, I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast previously, but we missed a really weird naming thing about the birds in Pokemon 2000, and I'm not missing that opportunity again. I don't care if I'm just making some leaps here. If it's possible that I'm considering it canon.
Aunts and uncles are perhaps the spookiest of relatives. Also, would you guys agree?
Sure.
I mean,
No.
I mean, grandmummies, but other than that,
Good one.
aunts and uncles.
I think like the old distant cousins, like the
I like the-
9-year-olds
yeah.
that you met when you were like 6. Those were the scariest ones.
The ones like twice removed kind of
I guess-
ones.
All distant relatives like the Dursleys or Count Olaf or whatever.
Well, yeah, it's one of the relatives that you like didn't really know that existed, and your parents invite them to like some sort of party or like a reunion, and they're like, "Hey, I'm your third cousin twice removed," and that's pretty creepy.
Wait, the
You don't know
Dursleys
this
were
guy,
Harry's
right?
uncle and aunt. Spooky.
Very spooky.
That's not...
So what are you guys going for as Halloween? Yes, that was exactly how I meant that sentence to come out.
What are we going for?
I'm going for a new record.
Most costumes in a night. I think I hold that record in our social circle. One time, I went to a Halloween party with Pat and his lady friend, and they're both comedians. So I raided their costume
closet costume supply,
and I brought all of it with me, and I was just changing costumes like every 20 minutes to hour because I didn't know anybody at most of the parties that we went to, and I was like, this will stop me from being bored.
Wait.
I'll just keep changing costumes.
Rachel and I had a couple's costume, so Matt was
Yeah.
just third wheeling it and,
Yeah.
and just took every costume out of my property.
You showed me a picture. Weren't you like a taco and a devil?
At one point,
Yep.
I was a taco and a devil.
Okay. Devil taco.
El Taco Diablo. Yeah. Mostly it was variations on a taco because I think I kept the taco part on for most of the night. But what are you going to be for Halloween, Ashley?
I'm boring. I don't have plans to be anything. Mentally stable would be good.
That's going to be a hell of a costume.
Yeah. It's gonna be me just as normal.
Oh, this is my first Halloween on antidepressants, so maybe me too.
Hey.
Tell you what I'm going to be for Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out of town.
Hey, oh.
Wow. Where at?
I'll be in the UK, where, as from what I understand, they don't celebrate Halloween nearly as intensely as we do in the US.
Do they celebrate
In
it?
Philadelphia and wherever Ashley's from.
Yeah, where are you from, Ashley?
Did I not mention it?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I live in New York. New York City,
What?
specifically. Yeah.
Wow.
New York. The city?
The borough of Brooklyn. They have boroughs here in New York.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like rabbits do?
Yes.
But
Actually,
you're on the island. They call it the island up there, right?
The Big Island.
the Big Island. Yes. We have the most trash per capita, and it's widely known for its garbage.
Well, that's really impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think so.
So as Pat's going to be out of the country, we may miss an episode, but we're going to try and bank enough so that we have an episode.
Or we
for
just
you.
do it without him.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah, nope.
That's
nope.
the spookiest answer of all.
You couldn't. I don't see
Actually,
how you
what we
pull it
could
off.
miss it.
Halloween Spooktacular. Do you guys? Do you guys want to hear some Pokemon news?
No.
Yeah, when you put it like that.
So we're about a month late on this because we record so far in advance. But in September, there was a Pokemon Go mysterious event where this weird, like, I don't know if you guys have seen him, but he's like this weird blobby guy with a bronze lug nut for a head. And
What?
everybody was like, what the fuck is this thing? It just started appearing all over. Everyone thought it was like a glitch. But turns out that was their way of like finding like a silly, interesting way to announce a brand new Pokemon named Meltan. Here, I'm going to show Pat a picture. And Ashley, if you could Google it if you would like.
Or I'll
Okay.
just describe it to you.
You know what? I'd rather have Pat describe it to me.
It is a woman with her shirt
No.
off.
Amazing.
That is
Matt, why are you...
Wait, how big are her tits?
that is the Twitter picture for @official Meltan. But it is the Pokemon Meltan.
It's the first picture that comes up. Oh, yeah, that is just that's a lug nut. Or it's not a lug nut.
Okay,
that's
describe
a,
to Ashley exactly what
just
you're
a
looking
Yeah,
at.
please. It's a
It's,
nut.
so you know like those hexagonal nuts that you put on a screw or like a bolt?
You know D's hexagonal nut?
These nuts?
So like if you're putting together a deck, right?
Oh, yeah, like every time I build a deck, I see these things.
You put a bolt in one side, and then on the other side you put a nut on it to keep the bolt in place.
Okay, cool. I've seen
it's
these
like-
on all the decks I've built.
It's it's like that, but gold, and then it's got like a little mercury body that's like stretching its hands out.
How big are his tits?
It doesn't have any. It's just kind of like it is
Not a
kinda
good
like
Pokemon.
a blob, but like a metallic
This
blob.
Pokemon sucks.
And then it's got a red tail.
Oh,
with,
it's a tail.
2 little flagellums sticking out.
I'm sorry? Say it?
Flagella would be the plural. Flagellum.
What's in the
Flagella?
middle of its nut?
Oh, there's a
How big are its
there's
nuts?
a little dot that makes it look like an eyeball.
And that's Meltan, everybody's favorite new Pokemon. He must be cool type because I love him.
Who's still listening at this point?
So that's our Pokemon. Oh, also, at about the time that this episode will be released, they've just released the last mythical Pokemon from the Alola region, which is Zeraora.
Rawr.
This is not what the show is about. This is about watching the Pokemon movies incessantly, and I'm just sneaking an actual like nerdy Pokemon shit into the podcast.
we got to cover Pokemon news. You can't.
Yeah, if there's something real big happening in the world of Pokemon, we got to cover it.
Of course.
So, 2 new Pokemon.
Hey.
Everyone loves them.
I thought you were going to announce that Hannibal Buress got cast as Psyduck in the upcoming Detective Pikachu movie.
Sweet.
I guess that all depends on the strength of our fan base.
Yeah,
Which is very
that would have
strong.
aired a week ago at this point.
yeah, 3 weeks after we recorded this. Anyway,
We'll find out. None
guys,
of us really know.
you want to talk about Pokemon heroes, Latios and Latias?
No.
All right, well, thanks everybody.
This is widely regarded as the best Pokemon movie, right?
So many.
No, for real?
I found I was at work and I was kind of bored and doing anything but working. I hope no one from my work listens to this. And I pulled up like 8 different websites that listed all the Pokemon movies ranked, right? And in every single one, this movie was in the top 5.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. And when I like averaged together, like, and it was a bunch of their number ones. When I averaged together the scores of all these, it was number 4. And the last movie, which we all agreed we enjoyed, right? We all enjoyed Pokemon Forever, the Celebi movie.
Yeah, I think so.
That's all the way down at like number 14.
Wait,
Interesting.
I'm sorry, Ashley. Do you not have an opinion on that?
Oh, the Celebi movie?
Yeah,
I enjoy is a strong word.
it's really not.
It's like the most mild word you could use remember having any positive feelings about anything whatsoever.
In this, let's set a
think we're gonna
base
go too
assumption here that you enjoyed these movies generally, right?
The assumption that I enjoy these movies
This one
generally?
you enjoyed relatively, I should say.
Like I said, enjoyed. I'm trying to decipher whether or not I'm actually enjoying them or my brain is beginning to melt to the point that like I don't know. It's okay. Like I said,
Right.
enjoy is a strong.
There's this relative enjoy. Yeah, there's this. I'm starting to judge them based on each other rather than based on movies because I think I have not watched a movie besides Pokemon.
That's the thing. I'm not a
since- yeah.
huge movie person. I typically don't watch movies.
To me now, these are the movies.
Right. These are the
you guys-
movies that I have seen.
Are you kidding? I've still been watching movies
No,
in real life.
this is what
This
movies are for me now.
No, that's the thing. The thing is, guys, I don't watch a lot of TV or shows or movies. So when it comes to like media, like actual like film, medium like of art, this is all I have been ingesting.
Oh no!
Right. To me, movies now are long animated things about magical creatures that
Correct.
people fight with.
Correct.
Start watching regular movies again.
Guys,
No, I
I've
just-
never watched The Godfather, and now I've watched 6 different Pokemon movies.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I see a lot of theater, so
I've never watched Bridge Over the River Kwai, but I've watched 6 Pokemon movies, and I'm gonna watch a 7th, and I'm gonna watch them all. I'm gonna
Never
watch
seen
another
Citizen
20,
Kane.
and I'm gonna watch them all again. So, all right, this movie opens up with the same intro as the last movie, only instead of Brock narrating and explaining what everything is, it's just music.
It's just an upbeat news theme.
Right.
And
And it's like a recap of everything that happened in the TV series, only, yeah, it's just music over top. And suddenly it goes into the movie, but once again, no narration, no words whatsoever. It goes into this weird, stylized, like almost biblical looking set of animations.
yeah, it's like watching a motion comic.
Like a motion comic that like looks kind of like Stations of the Cross would
Yeah.
be drawn in like a
It's like a very ancient.
story. Yes, it is ancient, which we will later find out is baffling. It's baffling why this looks so old.
Yeah,
But because it looks like, I don't know, like ancient Egypt or like Jesus times or whatever, and it's all these people in like these old ancient looking clothes, and it's telling the story of like some weird machine work taking over a town, and then 2 little boys turn into Pokemon.
Well, so this family, this husband and wife, I assume,
Joseph and
find-
Mary.
Yes.
find 2 children washed up on the beach. I actually thought this was going to be like a Moses thing because
Right.
it seemed a little older than like the New Testament animations that you see, and it was just a baby washing up on a shore that 2 people found and decided to take in themselves.
And then
But it's not. This is in no way a parallel to the story of Moses.
no, because these 2
If that's what you're looking for, get out.
so this corrupting force starts taking over the whole town, and then these 2 babies turn into Pokemon, and then they fly up and turn into the sun, and then the sun shoots a bunch of stuff at this like dark stuff,
Yeah, whatever this force is that's taking over the town and just shooting spikes into it.
and then everyone's happy, and then the 2 Pokemon come back down and give a ball to Mary and Joseph. And then it pans out, and we see that this is a book that 2 people are reading in a library. We don't see the people yet, but we just see that they're reading it in a library. Now, I found out that in the Japanese version, these 2 are narrating the story over top of this animation.
Oh.
That makes a little more sense.
Right, so we're watching this thing and we're getting no narration whatsoever, and it's just like so confusing. But yeah, in the In the Japanese version, you know exactly what's happening. So
why would they cut that out? Why would that be the piece that they just decided not to do?
I guess subs over dubs.
All right.
You know that age-old Pokemon adage.
Subs over dubs.
So,
I thought it
I'm
was
sorry,
subs for dumbs.
So we get to 3 minutes and 14 seconds into this movie before anyone speaks.
Before anyone says a word. And it's two people, they're hiding in the library, and they're like, I don't even know what they say, but they run away. And there's like a security guard walking through the library, and he sees a rose sticking out of a bookshelf, which like fucking eagle-eyed security guard.
Yeah. But also, why are you leaving a calling card? I have a lot of questions about
There's not normally a rose here.
I have a lot of questions about their process here, because they broke into a library at night. Mm-hmm. You can go into a library at any time when it's open and still hop out the back window like they did. Like, it's not... Right. I don't understand why they had to break in at night, read through the book while they were sitting there, and then steal the book, and at the same time leave a literal calling card. They left a playing card with their symbol on it.
I don't know either, but I also don't, like, maybe they didn't expect there to be a superhuman library security guard who's like, I've memorized every inch of these bookcases, and I've never seen a rose here before. So, they climb out of a window.
They parkour out of a window.
And you see that they're two cool super spy ladies with rad-ass hair. One's got these giant blonde buns like Princess Leia, but...
bigger and uglier.
Yeah, picture like a croissant on top of
yes.
someone's head.
Yeah, instead of two. I'm pretty sure these are Sailor Moons.
And then the other one has James's haircut, just straight up. He's got right. James's haircut and color.
It is like James's haircut. You're right. I thought it was like more stylish, but it is exactly like James.
And they jump in a flying car.
Mm-hmm.
That turns... It's already a flying car.
It's already a pink Cadillac.
It turns into a jet and flies away.
It's pretty badass. It's like a Batmobile.
And they're talking about how they're going to steal the Soul Dew to power the defense mechanism of Altamar. Real nerd shit. Fucking real nerd-ass nerd shit. They talk about how it contains the soul of a Latias, and it looks like a dewdrop.
That was really weird. It
Yeah.
looks like a dewdrop?
Yeah.
I didn't really understand.
Yeah, like, what a poetic...
Is that a Pokemon? Or they're talking about a drop of dew?
They're talking about a drop
tell.
of dew.
Okay.
You're wondering if there's a Pokemon named Dewdrop.
Yes.
Okay, no, there's
Is
not.
that out of the realm of possibility?
Okay,
Absolutely not, it's not.
Not at all. All of us, like, we have a harsh cut to the Tour de Altamar, which is Ash, like, surfing on a water chariot.
Right.
And there's
Misty.
this crazy rock and roll surf song playing.
I stick to the path that I choose. Me and my friends are gonna do it right. You'll never see us run away from a fight. To be a master is my dream. All I've got to do is believe.
It's like a horse-drawn chariot, but with Pokemon instead of horses and in the water instead of wherever a chariot goes.
I would have loved it if this song was also narrating like exactly what was going on. Like, here comes Ash surfing on the water. Misty following
Island, it's pulling on his chariot. Misty's right next to him. She's gonna pass. No, wait, no. There's another person passing them.
It's
Why
not.
not?
They sing some shitty song about friendship instead.
Yeah, it when it kicks in, you're like, oh fuck, there's a rock and roll song playing, and then the song's actually boring and stupid.
Yeah. It sounds like a 90s grunge track almost.
At first, and then it just starts to sound like the most boring fucking Pokemon theme song that has ever been Pokemon theme
So
song.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the race is cool.
The race is cool, but I think I know what Ashley's getting at. As
As they're passing by, they splash water over Team Rocket sitting down for a very big meal.
Okay, yeah, and what they're eating is like a plate of meatballs and some
Yes.
brown sauce.
That's what it's meatballs and sauce. I'm wondering. So we're like in what, Venice? Where are we exactly?
think
Like we're in some
in-
sort of
Pretty sure it's Venice.
We're in Altamar, but yeah, it's supposed to be Venice.
Venice-like place. So Team Rocket they're doing it up. Like they're paying for heavy, like really expensive meals in like fancy cafes. Where are they getting this money?
With all the money that Meowth earned sweeping
Yeah, on his-
chimneys.
on his side jobs.
Yo! And
Although they're not
mowing
even
lawns.
they're not even pursuing Ash here. They just happen to be in Venice getting some nice Italian food.
Yeah, they have no interest.
And Ash comes by and splashes them with his
Guys, and
Chariot.
their whole role in this whole movie is to be sitting around places and getting splashed.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
don't do anything else.
That happens so
Why
many
are they
times.
here?
They name Annie and Oakley for us, which is we haven't gotten there yet, but the name of the two women
By the way,
stealing
Annie
a book
Oakley.
from the library.
Yeah.
Very clever, Annie Oakley.
Thanks, Ashley.
Jesse James, Annie Oakley, yeah, right.
James,
Cool.
Annie
And then that one guy, man in Iron Mask. Wait, was it Iron Mask Marauder? Anyway,
This
these are all
guy,
the people.
Billy Kid.
You guys missed an important part where we see Brock
Yes.
That's right.
at the very beginning of this race, and he is so busy hitting on a lady that he knocks our buddy Pikachu off a bridge into the into
That's
this
right.
like diseased green-looking water.
He is essentially watching after children, right? He's got
Togepi
and
Pikachu.
Pikachu, who are Misty and Ash's children, respectively. And he's so concerned with just this lady comes up and says, "Hey, is there room to stand here?" And he goes, "Ah!" And then
For the listening audience, Pat made a motion like he was jizzing his pants.
and then knocks Pikachu off a 20-foot bridge.
Yeah, into this water again that's like green. It's like disease water. Luckily, Pikachu lands on Ash's head. Luckily for us, because it's a cool visual of
It is a riot.
Yeah. And also we see these two Pokemon, Latios and we don't know their names yet, but they're these two like flying Pokemon that look like what would you guys say? Rocket propelled marital aids?
They look like a Klingon warship, but they're in stealth mode. They're translucent.
Yeah, they're just floating around Altamar like invisible or whatever.
Right.
But at some point during the race, it also cuts back to Brock, and the woman he was hitting on walks away, and there's another woman that walks up, and he turns around and and starts to try to hit on her, and it's an older woman, and he gets literally sick to his stomach because
Yes.
he talked to an old woman.
No. He doesn't even talk to her. She looks at him, and he kind of looks over and then looks back. And
Right.
just looks completely disgusted.
He's disgusted. He's like, "Oh no, I looked at an old woman." Like,
Yeah, Brock really goes off the rails in this one. He doesn't really like outrightly hit on any of the women in the movie except for that one in the beginning, but he embodies toxic masculinity through the rest of the movie.
Right.
It's really
Very
upsetting.
strange.
guys, also, we all just watched this movie, right?
Yeah.
We didn't get to react to the big thing that happened, which is, y'all, apparently we were looking the wrong direction. We were looking at Brock this whole time. We should have been paying a little more attention to Ash. As far as the tongue-kissing Pokemon,
Oh, okay. I know what you're getting at.
we will get there, but, like...
Yeah, I guess send us your pictures of Ash tongue-kissing Pokemon.
Because we already watched it happen live. Anyway, we'll get to that. So Brock gets sick to his stomach. Ash falls in the water. He's probably got gonorrhea now. Guys, that water looks disgusting, right?
It does. Yeah, it's bright green.
It's bright green. It's like sludge colored. But Ash falls in the water, and then Latias, the invisible Latias, grabs onto Ash's Pokemon, Totodile and starts pulling him through the water, pulling Ash like into the lead in this race. So I guess we find out that Ash is like a huge fucking cheater.
Yeah. And he's just, once again, just walks himself into a situation of grave consequence that he has no business being involved in.
Yeah.
This invisible legendary Pokemon just happens to pick him up and start helping him win this race.
Just randomly. Once again, there's nothing he's done to earn this.
He's on vacation.
and he's like just one guy in a series of people trying to win a race. And a Latias is like, yes, you are the special one. He pulls ahead of Misty and some dude fucking named Ross, who's got a Whalmer and he's got cool ass sunglasses. And Ash pulls ahead, and then the Latias just pulls Ash like out of the race, which is fucking good for justice because he's a cheater.
Yes.
And then Misty wins the race.
Yeah, it is a very tight race between Misty and this weirdo
This
Ross.
fucking scumfuck named Ross.
And this was actually legitimately exciting. I think it's just like, I don't know if a year or so has passed since our last Pokemon movie, but the animation quality is bumped up a bit. So this race through the canals of Venice is actually pretty exciting.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, I was digging it. I hated Ross.
Yeah, I don't like Ross. Not
He's
a fan.
creep.
I don't
guy's a
like
weirdo.
Ross. Because as soon as the race ends, Ross like leans in and starts hitting on Misty.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he's like, "Hey,
And I got to say, he sounds a lot older than 12 years old.
He does.
yes, he does. He sounds like a fully grown adult." And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing after this? So I don't know, show you Altamar in
Miss-
my gondola."
In my gondola. You
Yeah.
want to see my gondola? That wasn't meant to sound as crude as it actually does.
And then Latios and Latias, the invisible like legendary Pokemon, they just kind of fly away, and it's like, why were they there? What were they doing? why any of that?
They did. There's a very fun moment here, or there's something I noticed where Ash's Totodile is just going off at him after the race, right? He's he's saying his name over and over again as Pokemon do. And Ash, who, as far as I know, doesn't actually have the ability to understand what Pokemon are saying. He just kind of infers what they're saying.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, it's okay. I don't mind that you lost the race. It's not a big deal." But from what I understand, this Totodile would be shouting, You don't get it. I was lifted up by an invisible force, and they forced me out of the way in this race.
By a ghost.
Ash is just
Halloween Spooktacular.
I keep forgetting. Anyway, Ash seems to be I think that's a form of gaslighting, just pretending to hear one thing when they're saying something entirely different, which is scary in itself. That's...
Yeah, once again, Ash is a problematic, toxic, masculine
Yes.
hero.
He's a problem.
So suddenly, so I keep saying suddenly when very little in these movies happens suddenly. So eventually, it cuts to all of our heroes, the gang, in a gondola that Ross is paddling, and Ross must be so pissed, right? Like, he asked Misty out on this date. He like got a gondola uniform and rented a gondola, and he's like, "I'm gonna take you on a tour through the canals." And she's like, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna bring 2 other guys with me."
And 6 Pokemon.
Wouldn't it be great? You asked a girl out, and she was like, "Oh, awesome!" She agreed to you. And later that night, she shows up with 2 of her friends. We're like, "Yeah, I hope you don't mind."
With a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. and the 15-year-old is so horny that when you say, "The buildings in this town sure are beautiful," he says, "Yeah, so are the girls."
So are the girls. It's what he said isn't as creepy as the way that he said it.
Yeah, he says it like he's holding in an orgasm.
It is. He is trouble in this movie.
Yeah, it just gets worse as it goes on.
I'm done with Brock after this movie. Seriously, I used to root for this guy, but He is awful. He needs to learn a lesson or two.
Yeah.
And-
He needs to be put in his place.
And Ash needs to open his mouth once in a while.
Yeah, Ash, say
Ash
something.
laughs it off. He says, "Oh, Brock."
Yeah.
That happens in the movie. He really just, that's how that scene ends. Brock says, "So were the girls," and Ash goes, "Ha, Brock."
He's trying to defuse the tension that Brock has caused. So he knows that something's wrong. He knows that this is uncomfortable. But also neither of them realize that they are the third and fourth wheels on a date that like Ross has planned so heavily. Anyway, we find out about the Guardians of Altamar. We find out all about Latios and Latias who watch over the town.
Latios on the left, Latias on the right.
And everyone talks about how they they wish they had ever encountered these Pokemon, but they talk about how like it's good that it's been so peaceful around because Latios and Latias only show up at a time when like the town's in danger.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be the protectors of the entire town. That's their
Now,
job.
have we gotten to a point where Latios has made any noises yet? Because it literally
No, but
not-
we are going to have a ball when we do.
Not yet, but yeah, I have a lot of things to talk about
Okay,
that.
great.
I'll tell you, I have one thing to say about it,
Yes.
and it is the noise that they both make. Get ready.
If you guys have loved in previous episodes that we've made Pokemon noises into the microphone, oh boy, you just wait.
You're gonna like this one.
We also see this little like robot boy with camera. It looks really sophisticated robot. It's got a helicopter on its head, and it can turn into a drill, and it's got a camera eye.
It's got a helicopter on the bottom as well.
Right,
Like
it's got
a
a helicopter.
propeller, I should say, propeller on the bottom that turns into legs once it lands, and it can crawl along those legs.
Yeah, it's a dope ass robot.
Little
And,
gadget.
We see that, and we cut over to these spy ladies who we still don't know their name yet. We're about to learn that their names are Annie and Oakley, so let's just refer to them as that from now on.
Yeah.
So Annie and Oakley talk about how the Latios and Latias can change shape. They can look like humans, but
Right.
you can find them with their lower body temperature. So not only does this little robot have a camera, it's also got an infrared sensor that
Correct.
like can detect temperatures
temperature.
of body temperatures. And I guess they're driving. They're like boating along the canals, and they splash Team Rocket again, who are eating ice cream.
Team Rocket is getting drenched again,
Yes.
is what they say.
And they're literally just trying to have a good time. Like, it seems like they're just really honestly on vacation, just like kind of going around eating ice cream.
Yeah.
Sitting in a canal,
This-
eating ice cream.
This part is really cruel, actually, because they're sitting there talking about how happy they are to be just sitting there eating ice cream.
And they just get splashed with water, and they're like, was that Annie and Oakley? Let's follow them. And then Wah Buffett pops up, and he's like, blah, blah, blah.
So fucking love
The
that guy.
thing is that it also, again, proves the theory that they are not part of Team Rocket, because everything about them is different. Everyone in Team Rocket so far has been dressed in black and actually has like legitimate equipment, and
it's
it
like
seems
really skilled.
exactly, like they have agent names, and Jesse and James are dressed entirely different, look like they pasted on the R's themselves, and are never equipped with any type of like high-tech technology.
My favorite part about this interaction here is when Wah Buffett appears, they don't even react anymore.
No.
Like, they're not like, oh, get out of here, you stupid idiot, and then like just like punch him in the face. Like, it just pops up as like, Wah Buffett, and they just ignore it entirely.
Yeah.
They're just like
just-
beaten down by life. So we cut back to our gang. They're running around trying to find ice cream. Pikachu decides to stop off and get himself a little shower.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
runs over to a water fountain.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna bathe in this."
Holy shit, a water fountain. Everybody else just keeps going. He doesn't care.
So Pikachu starts washing himself, and then Ash goes to like
You're
be like,
missing like a girl comes over and she pumps the fountain, And it starts splashing on Pikachu, and he's all happy and giddy about it. And then Ash says, "Oh, Pikachu, don't you want any ice cream?"
And the girl walks up and gets like 2 inches from Ash's face and
just
stares at him.
Stares at him and circles him and just keeps staring him in the face. Gets up and just walks away.
Ash doesn't do anything.
Doesn't even react.
Yeah.
He's not interested.
He's just
No.
I guess so. He's too young to be interested in ladies, I guess.
He's too young, and he just got his heart broken by the
Professor Oak as a boy. Sam.
the past version of Professor Oak.
Right, I already forgot about this. So yeah, he's just recovering from his brief fling with Sam.
Why do you think they're traveling to Venice? He just got his friends together and was like, let's just
go.
Let's not even think about relationships for a while. Let's eat some ice cream.
So Annie and Oakley show up and they scan this little girl, and they're like, "Oh, this must be Latios or Latias."
Yeah, they have like the glasses from They Live where they put them on, and all of a sudden they can see who's a human and who is a Pokemon posing as a human.
They and it's Spooktacular.
Good one.
Thanks. And then they chuck their Pokemon at this Latias girl, and they have an Espeon and an Ariados, and they start to like bully her. Like they start like yelling mean things at her, and the Pokemon start like just attacking her while she's not fighting back.
Yeah.
And then Ash is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he
Stop it!
starts pulling all the webs off of her, like she got webbed up by Ariados. And this is I have so many questions. They call him ugly. They say, like, basically, I don't remember what they say, but they like, "What is this ugly boy doing?" Or like, "Hey, stop it, ugly." I forget what they call Ash ugly. And then Pikachu shocks them all.
Yeah,
Right.
Ash goes, Pikachu, Thunderbolt. And Pikachu, like a loyal soldier, throws a Thunderbolt as both the Pokemon attacking Latias and at Annie and Oakley.
Yeah, he's electrocuting humans. Why does he
is.
do this so often?
I got some more thoughts on this.
Okay, here's my question, is what was their plan? They sent 2 Pokemon after Latias, and then a little boy runs up and starts tearing them off, and they just stand there and watch and call them names and don't do anything.
Yeah, you saw the Pikachu that's with this boy. Like, what did you expect was going to happen?
Right. Why
They were
they-
so surprised that anybody fought back when they tried to do this. Like, well, this ruins all of our plans.
Wait, what could we do? Move 10 feet to the left. Walk up and push the boy over. There's so much you can do, Annie and Oakley. You're super spies, and you know parkour. And then, there's this very, very long sequence of them running through alleys. And you keep thinking, like, they keep turning down these alleys, and it's not, like, repeating the same animated footage over and over. It's, like, showing new turns and new twists and new buildings and stuff. And you keep thinking as the viewer, like, ooh, something's going to jump out. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to pop up in his way and stop him.
Nope. They just want to show you that there's a lot of just halls. There's a lot of alleyways.
Takes 6 minutes.
They want to justify that they accidentally spent too much on an animator.
They do it from like a first person perspective.
Yeah.
And they do like kind of a
Windows 95
very
screensaver.
reminiscent of the time. I was thinking it's like playing Doom without the bad guys, because you're just running down
Yes.
hallways, taking turns, and continuing to run down computer animated hallways.
Guys, there's something really funny here. Ash and Latias are running with Pikachu, and Pikachu is making this like panting sound, which is just all right. Here, it's everyone's favorite segment, us imitating Pokemon. It's just him going pee 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 pee. And this sequence is, and I know we exaggerate these things a lot. This is like 3 minutes long.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah, that
fucking ever.
Yeah. So this is somebody sat down in a recording booth and put on her headphones and got up on the mic and was like, all right,
For 3 minutes straight.
what do you need from me today? And they're like, all right, we need you to do Pikachu's voice like he's running, but for like 10 minutes straight. It's like, okay, so like just like pee. Yeah. Do that for like pretty much the rest of today. That's your
Much
support.
faster, and make sure you do not say pee-pee.
So they're running away, and Pikachu's saying pee over and over, while the music from the Indiana Jones chase scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark plays. And the Latias girl leads Ash and Pikachu to Brock and Misty, and then just disappears, just bounces.
Which is probably for the best. At this point, I'm thinking, I don't want Brock to run into a Pokemon posing as a teenage girl wearing a short skirt.
Nobody seems too worried about this, right? Like, this girl just disappears into thin air, and I'm sure Ash, there's a moment where Ash is like, what? But then that's it. Like,
He's confused, but then they move on.
they move on.
Who cares? They're not here to stop assassins.
So they end up going to a museum to look at some fossils. And they're looking at like fossils of like whatever, like Kabutops and an Aerodactyl, which will come up later. But there's this man who starts talking to them about all this stuff, and he looks like, he looks like Super Mario at like age 60. He's like he's got a Super Mario mustache, but he's got a big bushy beard under it, and he's not wearing a Mario cap, he's bald. But like if Super Mario got bald, like gained not even a lot, but a little bit of weight, grew a beard, his hair turned white, and he lost the hair on top of his head. This is Mario. He's got like the red shirt and the blue suspenders. This is old man Mario.
Kid.
I thought he looked more like the prospector from Toy Story 2 without the hat.
That's fair too. He's like, for the rest of the movie, I called him Grandpa Mario in my notes. But like, if you would have called,
He comes out of nowhere, and Ash is like, "I know you. How?"
What?
Does he say that?
Yes.
That's
And
not
I
in
was
my
like,
notes.
"How
at all.
does Ash know this person?"
I don't know. I guess.
He says
That's,
that. He says, "I know you." And I was like, "Oh, what?
And it's just never.
What did I miss? Did I fall asleep during this?"
So it appears that the janitor at this museum has decided to start giving tours because I don't think they get a lot of people.
And he talks about the defense mechanism of Altamar, which we've heard already, and he talks about like
The defense mechanism of Altamore is the absolute worst name you could have for a MacGuffin.
right, because it's so clearly a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
It's so clearly like it's like that Star Trek-ian like technical language.
Yeah.
So like they're wandering through this museum after they talk to Grandpa Mario, and Brock just sees a stained glass window. And he has this like religious epiphany, like angels are singing to him on high, and he goes, "I will definitely meet a girl in this city." So stained glass makes you horny, Brock?
Everything.
Stained glass makes
Everything
you horny.
makes him horny.
He thinks he's hearing a message to God related to his lust.
Yeah. They find out that Altamar, I forget where this happens, but they find out that Altamar means high sea, which I guess explains why those canals are so green, because they're full of ecto-cooler.
Good one.
I'm shaking my head. I don't know.
Halloween
if anybody else can see it.
Spooktacular!
We got a Ghostbusters tie-in.
So they're walking around. Ash sees that girl again, and he starts chasing her.
He sees her from like 500 yards too.
Yeah.
He runs a long time before she even has to move to get out of his way.
And he like runs up and he's like, "Hey!" And she's like, "I don't know you," and starts running away. And so far, like so much of this movie has just been Ash running through the city. So much has been just Ash running through the city that I started to believe that this was like just like a city planning presentation. somebody in Japan made this like presentation to like this city planning committee and was like, "I animated this whole thing," and they're like, "Nah, we think we're gonna pass. We don't need a city." And they're like, oh. And he just sold that they sold that presentation to the Pokemon company. And they were like, we'll just put some Pokemon on top of it. We'll make it a movie.
To me, it was like the producers were like, yeah, no, we can't put this in theaters if it's less than an hour long.
Which is like a running theme in all these movies.
I keep forgetting that that's the true plot of all these movies.
A group of writers and animators struggle desperately to get to an hour. It's like the description of every Pokemon.
It's like a reality show.
Guys, did you also notice while he's running through, he runs past some Murkrow, and this is the biggest offense out of any of the Pokemon names. Like, you know how we've talked before about how all the Pokemon are just human beings going like Pikachu, and like human beings going like Geodude or whatever.
Or Totodile doing.
But for Murkrow, it's literally just men going Murkrow, 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 Murkrow. It's amazing.
Murkrow.
They're like, that's the best take we got.
And they literally sigh.
Murkrow.
Murkrow.
So there's this weird thing where like Ash is chasing this girl through the city, and the girl had said, "I don't know you," and runs away. And then I can't tell if some of this is Latias and some of this is Bianca.
It's supposed to be. We'll explain that in a moment, but I think it's supposed to be the one that says "I don't know you"
Is Bianca.
is the real person because
But
people
then
can talk.
But then the person that he's chasing for the rest of the time is Latias.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Latias leads them to some weird, spooky secret portal in a wall.
Yeah, and they platform 9 3/4 right through it.
We have to explain why Latios looks like Bianca, which is that since they are shapeshifters and they can shape into human beings, since they're such best friends, Latios chooses to look like Bianca.
Yeah, we'll find that out in like just like a second. Because after Ash disappears through the spooky portal, he finds himself in a beautiful garden that's probably haunted with skeletons and ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, like an arboretum.
But we never see those. We just see him wandering around a beautiful garden, and Latios starts attacking him. Like, Latios just comes out of nowhere and starts, like, attacking Ash.
Yeah, and here's where I get confused, because it seems like in some shots they can see him.
Yeah.
Just this, like, he's translucent but visible, and then in other moments it seems like he's entirely invisible and they have no idea where he is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell at all. I just know Ash starts getting attacked by something, and then Latias appears in front of him and is like...
I'm just saying, it seems like there's not a lot of consistency with the magical powers that these legendary imaginary creatures have.
Latias appears in front of Ash and probably at this point speaks for the first time, right? And who wants to do the first Latias impression?
Latias goes...
All right, let's start off gently.
That's
Well, yeah, they're happy right now. They're calm. It really ramps up when they get panicked.
okay. I'm interested more in the panicked one.
Yeah, all right. Well, this will come back up then.
Let's get ready.
So,
I really want to do it now, though.
So that girl that had said, "I don't know you" from earlier looks exactly like the Latios, but only wearing a hat, and she appears in the garden, and she is fucking pissed, and she tells Latios to kill Ash. She's like, attack him, like sick. I forget what she says, but she basically says like, murder that boy, this little boy in my garden.
The
Murder
10-year-old
him.
boy.
He shouldn't be in my garden. Murder
Get off
him.
my lawn, die.
And Grandpa Mario appears, and he's like, Bianca! And then we learn her name is Bianca.
Yeah. And she
prospect.
explains that the reason Latias was wandering around the city looking just like her is because, as you said a moment ago, Ashley, they are the best of friends, and I guess the only human Latias can think of to imitate when she wants to go out about town.
To punctuate this insane song starts playing about being your special friend and you are my special friend, and et cetera, et cetera. All about special friends.
It's not.
That's what I do when I have a best friend. Is that I end up dressing exactly like them. I'll cut my hair, color my hair, I'll wear their clothes, use their mannerisms. I won't speak because I can't sound like them.
Have you guys ever seen the buddy comedy Single White Female? That's.
Or the Matt Damon movie, the Incredible Mr. What was it?
The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Talented Mr. Ripley.
That fun
one.
romantic romp.
The one about best friends.
In the Talented Mr. Ripley, do they start pushing Ash Ketchum on a swing set, and Pikachu rides a Latias, and there's two weird sex toys flying around screaming at everybody?
Yes.
Because
It's
now
really-
let's talk about how they scream, because they're these just like flying sex toy things, jet things, and they just go like ah.
I keep hearing them say no.
No! My
Really?
God. So I was watching this and thinking like, okay, first of all, could you guys imagine watching this in theater? This was the last Pokemon movie to be in theaters, and I can understand why. Can you imagine watching this in theaters? It's surround sound, and it's just 90% of the movie is these two things screaming in this high-pitched voice.
It's so much louder than anything else in the movie.
Right.
I was watching this at work with headphones on, and my coworkers were turning to make sure I was okay.
Pat had to finish watching the movie on his phone in my apartment, and I had to go into the other room because all I was hearing was just these right. I couldn't hear much of the movie. Like occasionally I'd hear little bits of music or whatever, but almost everything I could just keep hearing these things screaming over and over and over again.
They talk to each other. They have entire scenes where the dialogue is just between Latios and Latias making the same noise back and
Guys,
forth.
this made it through so many executives, and none of them were like, okay, all right, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't do this.
I don't understand.
It even made it through a translation process, right? Like this made it through all these executives in Japan, and then moved over to the United States, where they were like, let's translate it into English. And at no point were they like, yo, these sounds got to go. They completely redid the sound, and we're still like, yeah, let's leave these in.
Yeah, let's re-record it with the same.
So we find out that Latios is capable of what's called sight sharing, and he's like flying around, and he flies into the city, and he beams like everything he's seeing into the brains of anyone he wants to.
Yeah, both of their eyes start glowing, but Latios is flying through, I guess, underwater. He's through the canals or whatever.
Yeah,
and he can project what he's seeing onto Latias and whoever's surrounding Latias. So they just kind of see this trip through the city. It's not as interesting as they make it seem. They're all freaking out about it.
and Grandpa Mario says like he would only do this with somebody that he trusts completely. Once again, Ash getting something that he did not earn at all. Somehow, with zero effort, he's earned the complete trust of these legendary Pokemon that have never communicated with anybody besides this old man and this little girl. And somehow, he is the most trusted person. It's fucking crazy.
Weird.
But Grandpa Mario talks about how Latios' dad... He explains that scene in the beginning, which is that there was this time where all these Pokemon went crazy, and Latios and Latias' dad, who was also a Latios, gave up his life to become water and wash out all the corruption from the city and fill up the canals.
And then he disappeared into thin air.
But, okay, those tablets... Okay, so if this happened in Grandpa Mario's childhood...
Those tablets are from, 1964.
Yeah, why was everyone dressed like they were in ancient Jerusalem?
Why is this carved into stone somewhere?
Yeah, if that just happened, while the Beatles were making records.
I don't know, maybe Grandpa Mario is actually like 600 years old or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible. He's a weird looking dude.
Yeah, how old is Mario himself?
Mario, he wasn't he like, he was actually like, the character was conceived in like, what, 1985? Or 83?
So he would be at least,
So if he was like 40 at that point,
he's like 70 now.
I mean,
Yeah, he
he's
still looks really
my age.
He's got a
Mario
while, though.
is.
Do you guys think, so if this takes place in Venice, this is made in association with like the Nintendo company.
Sure.
Do you guys think that Nintendo thinks that every person in Italy looks like Mario?
Oh my god.
Like that's their only idea of an Italian person.
Their only
is
frame
Mario?
of reference is Super
Yeah.
Mario.
And that's why
Or
this,
Princess Peach.
or Princess Peach, and that's why this guy looks like. Anyway, so Ash has to leave, and then everyone it makes Latias upset, and then we find out that the little robot guy is in the secret garden somehow.
I don't know how.
Yeah, me neither.
There's no they passed through like a secret entrance that I'm pretty sure needed some sort of magic to get through.
Yeah, platform 9 3/4.
Yeah. And the robot can just be there.
It's just there. Yeah. We also find out, and in this moment, like, as we find out that Grandpa Mario makes gondolas, and he sends Ash back home in a motorboat, which is not a gondola. Fucking way to take pride in your work, Grandpa Mario.
So he's not even a janitor. He just dresses like one
Right.
so that he can give tours at the museum.
He gives tours of a museum. He's dressed like a janitor. He makes gondolas, and he tends to a secret garden where 2 legendary Pokemon live. What the fuck is this guy's deal? And then we see the fashionable spy twins Assassin's Creeding across
Right.
the city. They're flipping, they're jumping, they're running along building ledges, and Team Rocket is following and like tripping all over the place while Buffett pops up and makes them like fall off a building or something.
But there is one moment that genuinely made me laugh a little bit, because every time they are kind of defeated or being punched into outer space or something, they always say, "Looks like Team Rocket is blasting off again." And what I thought was funny was they fell off. They were hanging on some like a flagpole or something, and Warren Buffett gets on top of them, and they fall into the lake. And they said, "Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off," but it just ends because they fall into the water, and it made me laugh.
The diseased.
Yeah, it made me
canal
laugh
water.
so hard. It was like they had this whole thing prepared. It just like ended.
I've been calling him Woba Fett.
Woba Fett.
I think that's fun.
Oh, like Boba Fett, but Woba. Nice. Woba Fett. Woba Fett.
It's what I call him, Buffett, Jimmy Buffett. Every time we say that.
So, Annie and Oakley send Espeon to go like knock Grandpa Mario unconscious while he's making a gondola.
Yeah, it's like a you know that scene in Drive where that hitman shows up and murders Bryan Cranston's character in the garage.
Right.
I thought it was very reminiscent of that. It's like a classic garage murder scene where the mechanic kind of like rolls out from under his gondola and looks up and is like, "Oh, hey, I didn't expect to see you here. What's going on?" And then you just see like
Him fall.
his head hit the floor.
Yeah, and the tool roll out of his hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It was very well done.
And then Annie and Oakley sneak into the garden, and Latias start attacking them. They do a bunch of cartwheels. They throw out an electric net. Only their electric net also has like a slime component.
Yeah, it's like an electric net made of snot.
And Latias start screaming, and it's fucking unbearable. You know what it sounds like to watch this movie? It sounds like, you know when you go to a kennel and all the dogs are howling and barking at the same time, and it's like this cacophonous din. Have you guys ever experienced this?
Yes.
It's like that, but if the kennel was full of not dogs, but like kindergarten girls. Like kindergarten age girls, and they were all like howling at the same time. That's what it's like to watch this movie. But anyway, Latios gets caught in the slime net. Latias gets away down the canals. And Annie and Oakley steal the soul dew. And one of them says the incredibly poignant line, it's like... It's spiritual or something.
You know what I mean? She says to the other person.
And it cuts to the other person, and she's like taking a hit off a bong. And she's like, yeah, totally.
I hear you. So they have not in any way established their goal here. Like they originally they were just like, hey, we're gonna steal this gem, and that'll be great because it's a cool, probably valuable gem.
Right.
And now they're cracking plans of things that they want to do with the gem, including starting up the DMA.
The DMA, the Department of Motor Aeronauticals.
But they don't have I don't know. Maybe it's by design, but we have no idea what they're up to. Why do I hate these people? What are they doing that I actually don't like?
Yeah, what makes them villains? They could just be Indiana Joneses.
Yeah.
Belongs in a museum.
This Soldu belongs in a museum.
The spiritual Sea-Doo belongs in a museum.
This jet ski belongs in a museum.
Latias manages to go invisible and escape from Annie and Oakley.
Which apparently they didn't have a contingency plan for what if one of them turns invisible.
Yeah. Again, they didn't really think this through.
They're not good at this. They're very good at parkour and cartwheels and stuff. They're not good at plans and following through.
They get pretty far considering that they're winging it, but they really never reach an end. Latias manages to escape and shows up on the balcony of Ash's hotel room where he's staying with Misty and Brock. He takes the human woman form again. And
this hotel has a big P on it.
Has P all over it.
It has a big letter P on the front of it. So I'm wondering, do Ash, Misty, and Brock sleep at Pokemon centers when they're traveling? Are they just homeless vagabonds?
I mean, it would make sense. They're only 10, 12, and 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's like a Pokemon hostel.
That's what I was going to say.
They show up, and all of us, I'm guessing, at once just clench as hard as we can. Because all three of us, I bet, at this exact same moment, even though this happened at across time and space, all of us shared a moment where we went, Brock, do not hit on this Pokemon.
Oh, yes. I was waiting for it.
Ash says, Brock, Misty, this is Latias. And Brock says,
No!
Misty says, hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Misty says what humans are supposed to say. Hi, nice to meet you. Brock says what carnivore looking at a slab of meat says.
And then Latias transforms back into Pokemon, and it is all worth it for the look on Brock's face when he sees that he was just sexually interested in a Pokemon.
No, but the thing is that later on that doesn't seem to matter.
Yes, it doesn't. Yeah. He takes some time to adjust to it, and then he decides, yeah, I'm into this. Yeah, this is for me. But so it cuts back to Grandpa Mario and Bianca, who show up to try and stop Annie and Oakley. But Espeon knocks them out. Like Grandpa Mario knew that was a thing and did not come up with a contingency plan. And then they wake up all tied up in a web. And Latios is in a force field. Guys, did you start getting excited? Did you guys start vibrating in your seats when you saw that Latios was in a force field?
Because you know what's going to happen.
You know what's going to happen.
100%.
But not yet. Let's keep everybody...
Doesn't disappoint. We'll get there, but...
So Latias is in a force field, and he's banging against it, and he sight shares with his homies. And it cuts back to our gang, and they're like, somebody's stolen the soul dew, which was a fun sentence.
The Sea-Doo.
Somebody's stolen my ski-doo.
And then Annie and Oakley start playing with the DMA, the defense mechanism of Bob.
Yeah, it just starts whirling around, and then the fossils they saw on the floor
spring to life,
light up and spring to life. And Ash says, it's the fossils. And Brock says, the evil fossils.
Yes.
And then a bunch of gates start springing up all over the city. And the fun thing is, like, this is the animators having a field day, because in every doorway, every alley, where a gate could spring up, a gate springs up, and they all spring up in different ways. Some of them are like vertical bars, some of them are like crossed bars, some of them are like intricate, like fractalized patterns.
Yeah, I think it's Oakley, who is in the machine at this point, goes, from here I can control the entire world. It really seems to only have an effect on this city, but she is
right.
convinced.
She's dreaming big.
They try to outrun the security system. They end up jumping into the river to not be barred in. There's at every intersection, bars start appearing, and at every window, every balcony in the city, these bars start popping up and just keeping people like jailed in wherever they are. Except for the canals, which seem to be
completely free.
No
one will be able to sail down these, says the woman standing next to a gondola maker.
Yeah. It's clearly a major transit system in this city, but they didn't think to... That's all right.
Misty and Brock get caught, and Ash gets stuck on like the other side of a gate for Misty and Brock. And they express worry, and Ash says, "We'll be okay. We're going to the museum."
Which I guess is our first moral of the...
Right, know what public places are safe. It's like a Sesame Street kind of.
That's where I go.
Yeah, go to the education center.
So Ash gets onto a gondola and starts pedaling down the river when Aerodactyl attacks and destroys their gondola, which sounds to me like the beginning of a saying that I want you guys to complete. So it's like, all right, here's a piece of wisdom you'd find in like Poor Oak's Almanac or whatever.
Okay.
When the Aerodactyl wrecks your gondola, you've gotta
tackle it.
All right, Ashley, when the Aerodactyl wrecks your gondola, you've gotta
run up and punch it.
Okay.
Ash does both.
So, Ash, thrown from his gondola, finds those weird chariot boats from the beginning, and then gets Latias to pull him down the river. And it cuts back to Misty and Brock, and they send out all their Pokemon, and they're like, "Go help Ash!"
As they're still trying to break off of the balcony that they're stuck on at this point, and Brock is trying to bend metal bars apart with his bare hands.
He yells, "All right, I've had it!" And he tries to bend the bars.
It was never gonna work, bro.
So Kabutops shows up. He's about to kill Ash, and Brock and Misty's Pokemon show up just in time and save him. And everybody's happy.
Sorry, I don't mean to go back again, but that's the same way as immediately after Brock realizes he can't bend metal bars by himself. He sends his Pokemon out and then Misty says, "Don't worry, guys, we'll be right behind you," which is an outright lie. They are
just
barred in this room, and they've sent their Pokemon outside of it.
And then, and then Kabuto is about to, kill Ash, gets Ash cornered, about to kill him, and Brock and Misty's Pokemon show up just in time to save him. And then it cuts to, it's just cutting back and forth like mad here. It's really action packed. This was a part where I was actually kind of riveted because of the way it was sort of keeping the action up. And it cuts to Oakley, who's still in that machine, and she's starting to use it to make a big pillar of water roam around, and then it zooms in on Annie's face, who's like, "What the fuck is happening?"
So Oakley once again mentions that she's gonna somehow use this machine to take over the entire world.
Right.
And Annie looks at her and goes, "Oakley," like she's disappointed at her. And this is the first time in the movie that they have distinguished which one's Annie and which one's Oakley. There was no other, and the entire rest of the movie they were just referred to together.
Oakley. Yeah. And at this moment, when she makes this giant pillar of water, suddenly Ash and Latias appear in the museum, and Latias starts glowing and just fucks up the machine, just destroys this machine, and all the water falls down, and Latias falls to the ground looking dead for a second. For a second, Latias just collapses to the ground, and you're like, "Oh shit!" But then it's just like picks itself up and starts dancing, and it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah. And all the while, Latias and Latios are having a long conversation with each other.
Which is just little child screaming.
Yeah, back and forth.
And then the machine starts moving, just like moving around, like kind of rotating. And everybody in the room starts acting like this is some major escalation, but it's impossible to tell why.
Yeah, it's just
like
been spinning around in circles this whole time anyway.
And it just starts spinning again, and everyone's like, oh! So you're like, what? Why? What's up? Pikachu runs in the room, zaps Annie, and all the Spy Lady's Pokemon, and they all fall over. Like, again, Pikachu's just so fucking powerful. Like, just running and just, like, knocks everybody out that nobody else could defeat. Like, just destroys them. And, guys, Latios is trapped in a force field. And Ash is in the room. And I don't know if... Were you guys sitting there, like... How excited were you at this moment?
You know what? So I had already seen Ash run up and punch and try to tackle a fucking pterodactyl, and I didn't think he would try it again.
Really?
I earnestly was like, okay, he's already got one in for this this movie.
How about you, Ashley? How were you feeling at this moment?
I mean, I was predicting what was about to happen.
Guys, I was there. I wrote in my notes in all caps, it says, "Punch it, Ash," with an exclamation point. And then, and then it cuts to the machine going crazy, and like the machine like ate Oakley. Like it just like swallowed her up. And then the next thing in my notes is Ash punches it twice. Ash he runs up and tries to punch it and fails and tries to punch it again. And I was like so excited, like fuck yes. Okay. I love this, and it makes me love these movies. I have not up till this point, I've not felt like a deep affection for these movies, right? Like I'm like, these movies are ridiculous. They're kind of bad. They're kind of hard to suffer through. There's moments that are kind of like fun or whatever, but they feel like reprieves. This moment felt like, okay, there's a force field. Ash is gonna punch it, and then somewhere in the back of my head is like, maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. Maybe I'll just be disappointed here. Maybe
he's figured it out by now.
Like, well, not even just like on that level, even on the level of like, yeah, maybe they just didn't make him punch it this time. Maybe they're not aware of the Ash punching force fields thing, and they just like, they didn't think to put it in because like that's not, they don't mean for that to be a running gag. So maybe he won't punch it. And then he runs up and he punches it twice, and it just filled my,
to no effect, to either time, to absolutely no effect.
But like this was the first time while watching these Pokemon movies that my heart filled with joy. I just felt, I was like, of course he did. I love you, Ash. I love these movies. I love this.
I'm sure that this is included in the character breakdown that you give a new writer for any of these films.
Is please make Ash punch a force.
Yeah.
Guys, no, we haven't gotten through one movie where Ash hasn't tried to punch something.
No, every single time.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
right?
And
like,
it's been successful once in 6 movies.
Yeah, because he tackled the Iron Mask Marauder.
Yeah. And distracted him enough to make something else bad happen.
But through sheer brute force, they pull Latios out of this thing, and the machine stops, and Oakley passes out. And then Brock and Misty show up after everything's done, after the whole thing's solved, and everything seems fine.
Yeah, seems like everything's resolved. We are just under an hour at this point. You can close the movie out. We can all go home. End of podcast. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Except, of course, the Soul Dew has transformed from its gem state to, I guess, some sort of plasma.
Right.
And Annie and Oakley decide they want to touch it anyway.
It explodes.
It explodes and drains all of the water from the town.
Right. And I guess Grandpa Mario says the prophecy is true. The soldier is dying. All the water is leaving. Leaving. The water's leaving, Grandpa Mario? The water's deciding to get up and just go somewhere else? That's what's happening, Grandpa Mario?
No, it's what's happening here is a tsunami, and they just don't have the weather tracking capabilities to identify it. This has clearly happened before, and they were just like, oh, this must be legendary Pokemon causing this. There's a prophecy.
Right. Like, water doesn't just leave. That's not how water or gravity or anything works. So, water disappears. Latios and Latias shout at the sky for a little while. And then and then as Pat hinted, the water comes back as like a giant wave. And what do Latios and Latias do? Having just made friends with Ash, what's their first solution?
Run up and punch it,
Run
baby.
up and punch it.
Punch it with a force field.
They fly up and they try to headbutt this thing. And they glow and they turn into a giant ball, and the ball absorbs all the water and then
doesn't absorb all the water. They managed to save the main city that everybody's in, but this giant wave comes through and knocks down homes. It knocks down buildings. There must be thousands dead.
Right.
Because it's only the city itself that was saved, none of the surrounding areas.
Yeah. But in the city, they just gently lower the water down to the ground, and they're like, "Oh, we did it." And there's like dead bodies floating in the canal for months. And then Latios turns into like a guy, like crystal.
Yeah, he turns into a giant light beam first, and then shrinks down to the size of a gem. It's very convenient because we just lost a major gem.
Right. Oh. Also, we see Team Rocket, and they get washed away by all the water that comes in, and that's the end of the B plot.
Yeah.
That is Team Rocket. That's
They
like
had
the end of Team
nothing
Rocket.
in this movie. It wasn't even like they didn't provide new information for the movie. They didn't interfere with any of the characters.
Yeah.
They just showed up to get wet three different times.
That's why I'm saying, like, this is the theory that, like, they're not actually part of Team Rocket, and they just, like, they're habitual. The only thing they know right now is just to follow Ash and Pikachu, and so they just keep doing it now out of habit.
Well, I'm thinking it's not even that they're not part of Team Rocket. They're also not part of these movies. I have the feeling that somebody's sneaking them into these movies, and they don't belong there. They weren't in the script. They weren't in the storyboards. Just some rogue animator a day before this went to theaters, like, snuck these scenes in.
I think there's like some sort of
I'll
contract.
show them no more Team Rocket.
There's some sort of contract where they have to appear in every movie. And they're like, okay, well, I guess they'll just be eating food and getting splashed a few times. Like, I don't know what else to do with them.
So we find out that Annie and Oakley are still stuck in the machine. Mm-hmm.
Presumably just to starve to death.
Starve to death. And the gang goes out looking for Latios and Latias, and they find Latias unconscious on top of a mantine. And Latias explains by screaming that Latios became a beam of light, just like his father. That's what Bianca explains to us. But basically, it's just like a weird animal sex toy jet screaming at a little girl for a full minute. And then she turns and goes, that animal turned into a beam of light.
Yeah, it's magic.
And they're all like, oh, we're sad that Latios turned into a beam of light. But then Latios sight shares. Is it sight share or psych share?
Sight share.
Sight shares with everybody and show that he's having a hell of a time out there. He's having the time of his life.
Yeah,
He's
there's
having
actually an afterlife.
he's in heaven looking at Earth, and he's so happy. And everybody suddenly comes back into themselves, and they're just holding the soul gem. Like Pat said, like it just, suddenly there's a new soul gem, and like none of this makes any sense to me. Like, okay, Latios became a beam of light who ascended to heaven, and then was like to the point where he was able to beam his sight into the brains of our gang, but at the same time he turned himself into a gem.
The afterlife is complicated, Matt.
And I guess it's just spooky Halloween magic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very scary. He dies, and then he's an alien.
He becomes a ghost rock.
Yeah, he haunts a rock.
So they put the Soldu back, and everyone stares at it for a while. And
Ash is just like, well, I guess my work is done here. Time to go.
At this point, right, like...
Ross never comes back?
No.
Odd. I thought there was going to be some... He even shows off a necklace that looks like it would have been an important
Ross
gem to take part in the movie. It wasn't. He was just showing off his lame necklace.
Do you think that like something was cut out? Because Ross seemed to have had like some sort of bigger...
Yeah, why introduce Ross?
I don't know. He literally had no purpose.
Except for to wear cool sunglasses.
He didn't perpetuate the plot at all. He didn't have any sort of like memorable or meaningful interaction. I have no idea.
Maybe it was just to show that Misty is over Ash at this point. Because was apparently some romantic tension that I didn't pick up on in this throughout this movie.
So okay, hold on. Before we get to that, everyone's staring at the Soldu. Bianca says, "Please stay with us forever." And then it cuts to bells ringing, which in a movie usually means marriage.
Yeah.
Y'all, did Bianca marry that rock? Did Bianca marry? She said, "Please stay with me forever." Then it cut to bells ringing. Did she marry that rock?
Yeah, I mean, there was some weird...
I'm not going to kink shame.
Okay. So... Gang speeds off in a boat. They see Bianca waving, so they pull over, and Bianca hands Ash a piece of paper. Who wants to take this one?
So Bianca walks up, hands Ash a piece of paper, leans in, and gives a very long kiss on the cheek. Longer than most kisses on the cheek should last.
Yeah.
Pulls away, and then just runs away.
Doesn't say a word.
Doesn't say anything. Runs away.
So I think...
So was it Bianca, or was it actually...
That's what Misty...
Latias?
Because we see Bianca put her hat down, and we see her drawing a picture.
So Brock nearly explodes...
with jealousy.
With jealousy.
Yeah, he is losing...
And losing his mind.
He's been wanting to tongue kiss...
straight.
He's been wanting to tongue kiss a Pokemon for so fucking long.
So and Ash,
this is where it gets complicated and kind of weird. So Misty asks, was that Bianca or was that Latios?
Yeah, was that Ash's first kiss or was that Beastiality?
And Brock says, I don't know, but I'm burning with jealousy. That's what he says?
Right.
Burning with jealousy.
Yes.
I'd either like to kiss a little girl or a Pokemon. It doesn't matter. Brock, what the fuck is wrong with you?
There is no clear answer on whether that's Bianca or whether
Correct.
that's a Pokemon posing as Bianca.
Right, and
like they show that the thing that she gave to Ash was a picture
of Ash and Pikachu.
But it was never established which one of them is the one that's drawing those pictures.
Right,
for the museum.
And it's almost like the creators of this movie don't realize what a huge fucking difference that is. Yeah. If a little girl had a crush on Ash or if Ash just made out with an animal.
But don't you understand, like, okay, so this is how we know that Ash probably still isn't over Sam. He is completely unfazed by a cute girl kissing him on the cheek.
That's true. Yeah, he did not care. He was just like...
He looks at the picture. He he gives a half smile.
Goodbye.
and Brock jizzes his pants by watching it.
Yeah.
Then we listen to a fake ass Elton John song.
Yeah, it's a
Movies
terrible
over.
little song, and then the credit just shows a bunch of Latios and Latias flying in the sky. So I guess these incredibly powerful, legendary Pokemon that can turn into beams of light and create water and save an entire city, they're just like endless. There's an endless amount of them. Yeah, and then we're done our movie. That's the end of the movie.
There's a fun thing that happens during the credits here where you see Annie and Oakley have escaped from the DMA, and they are once again researching Pokemon stuff in ancient books. And they come across the Collector from Pokemon 2000 and his flying fortress and start pointing at him and looking at each other as if that's the angle they're going to pursue. So I don't know if that comes up in a future
no. Do
movie,
you
but
guys think
they
that'll come
are
up?
planting some seeds. They also, this is the last movie to be released theatrically, so it's very possible that never pays
That this
off.
never comes up again. Yeah. I wonder if we do ever see the Collector. I literally have no idea. I'm not even playing coy.
Well, we'll find out. We got nothing but time.
We got nothing but time.
It is very late.
Um,
Let's fucking wrap this
let's
up.
wrap this sucker up.
Wrap
So,
the fuck up.
guys, do you want to give your and try to find a way to work spookiness into this? Do you guys want to give your spooky final impressions? Ashley, let's start with you.
My spooky final impressions was that this, and I did not like this one. I guess this isn't spooky at all. I didn't not like I didn't hate it, but I definitely, this one's not going to be memorable for me at all.
Yeah.
It's thin,
Very
Yeah.
thin soup.
Not much to really ponder on for this one, except Brock wanting to fuck a Pokemon. Other than that,
Yeah. We now know for sure that Brock wanted to fuck a Pokemon.
yes,
Um,
100%.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I like this was a very thin movie. There was very like in a series of movies that are very one note, like that are very thin. This one felt even more thin than normal. I didn't like what was the like. There's always this like high flying message in every movie, and I didn't find that in this. I'm like, what's the message? Like, don't steal rocks.
Yeah, be nice to the good guys.
Yeah. Don't be a bad guy. I guess there was probably something about friendship, but I'm not sure what it was. This one was. I guess I found this one like to be very colorful and pleasant, but not. And there were some entertaining moments, but overall, this one was not super entertaining. This one was, it felt like it was missing maybe an entire plot.
Yeah.
I feel like the movie itself was very bland. The animation was pretty good. It keeps getting better with each movie. The animation does, but the movie itself was just boring. Like I had no reason to care about anything.
Yeah.
I do have some questions.
Okay. Just work spooky words into your questions.
Okay, well, let me ask this one first. Latios and Latias,
Yes.
are they brother and sister, or they're lovers?
I didn't hear spooky. I can't answer that question unless you put a spooky word in there.
They are vampire brother and sister, or vampire lovers?
I believe they are brother and sister.
That wasn't one of the options, man.
They're vampire brother and sister. Because they both have the same dad, which was that Papa Latios that sacrificed himself, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess that was both of their father, right?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Second question is, and I think this is scary unto itself, has Ash come to just start using Pikachu as a weapon?
It seems so.
Like, he just, when he has a problem, he says, Pikachu, Thunderbolt, that thing that's obstructing my way.
Right.
And Pikachu just does it. Pikachu will shock anything for Ash, and Ash is starting to really abuse that, I think.
Including humans,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is a real, like, Walter White situation where every movie, Ash is falling further down this hole of villainy.
This does predate Breaking Bad by, like, 5 or 10 years, right?
Yeah, about 10 years, yeah. Do you have another? Was that all your questions?
No, that's it. This movie was boring, and also those 2 questions.
And also, there are zombies attacking. Whoa. Spooktacular. Okay,
Ghost.
let's go. All right, let's go to our spooky rankings.
Oh, Christ.
It's gonna get so much harder as we go along, right?
I mean, I can just start making it up from now on.
Do you guys want me to? I never start this one. I can start.
Yeah, why don't you start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I feel like mine change every time because I feel like I don't remember. I never remember my rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go on gut impulse every time. But okay. So we've watched 6 so far. My number 6.
Wait, this is Pokemon movie 5, but it's our 6th movie?
Yes. My number 6, the worst one, is Pokemon 2000, I think.
Okay.
Pokemon 2000, the one with the birds. Number 5 is probably Mewtwo Returns, the TV movie. Number 4 is the first movie. Number 3 is this one.
Number 3.
Number 3 is this one because I
Damn.
think this one is better than the first movie, which was not good. Number 2 is the Spell of the Unknown.
Okay.
The third movie. And number 1 is the Celebi movie, Pokemon Forever. That was the only one that I've thought was really good so far.
Honestly, I don't know if these are the same answers I've given in previous episodes.
Yeah.
Well, you always said it followed
But-
the Rocky movies until the last one.
Yeah, because Celebi was the best one. So
Yes.
right now my order from best to worst is 5, 1, 3, 4, 2.
Right.
I would put this one right above Pokemon 2000, so second to last. So I would go Celebi, Pokemon the first movie, Curse of the Unknown, Mewtwo Strikes Back,
this one.
Latios and Latias, and then, of course, the cursed Pokemon 2000.
Pokemon 2000 was so bad. All right. Ashley, how about you? This is so hard. It's hard to remember.
I could just do like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. Or I could do like 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 5, 2, 6, 3.
This is is this some ARG? Is this something like if I put this into some like spectrograph, will I see a picture of like a skull
Well,
with
I'm
the
seeing,
words
like-
Pokemon on its forehead?
It's like number one is number 2, number 2 is number 4 kind of thing. But like, so okay,
So I would say 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, 8, 9, 7, 5.
7.
9? Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So-
Did you give your ranking? I can't even what is going on? Did you give your rankings already? I can't even tell.
Okay. No, I didn't.
Okay.
So, because I'm trying to figure out like names
Did
of
you
these things,
pull
I
some sort
don't
of, like-
remember the titles.
Mandelbrot joke on us or something?
Okay, here we go. Let me see. 1 would be, fuck. You know, I'd say 1 is Celebi's Nasty Nest.
Oh,
2,
yeah.
2 is Enya. 3
Yes. Okay.
is 2000.
Whoa.
Wow.
Not going to get a lot of support for that one, Ashley.
4
I was with you for the first two.
4 Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Okay.
Mewtwo Rides Again. 5. I can't remember what else we.
Why do we
watched.
never call it Mewtwo Returns Mew 3? Why did that never occur to us?
Mike 1 comes back.
We've already got too many numbers to deal with.
Yeah.
5.
I love this part of the podcast. It's just like one of those like Russian code radio stations where we just say a series of numbers.
Seriously, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and we are just shouting numbers at each other.
So number 5. I can't remember which which other ones?
Curse of the Unknown.
No, she put that already. It's
That's
number 2.
Oh, you're right. What are we missing?
What are we missing?
You're missing the first movie, and you're missing this one.
Yeah, the first.
Okay, how about this? 5 is the first, and 6 is this one.
This one that we
This is
just
the
watched.
worst. This is bottom of the barrel for
the
you.
Sea-Doo.
Man, I do not think this is bottom of the barrel, but I do think it's like I think I put this one at number 3.
This could
didn't
very
I?
well
It doesn't-
change next episode. This is just
it changes all the time. This is
it's
pointless.
1 in the
Yeah.
morning, and I just want to
give
go
it a
to
week.
bed.
Maybe you'll sleep on that opinion. And
The ranking system was funny when we only had one movie, and now it's just like a
has
fucking
been funny since.
It's like a burden, but we can't stop doing it. Like it's part of the show now, but it's just like a horrible, horrible burden.
I'm not writing them down. I refuse to write them down.
Like, tweet at us about how much you hate the ranking segment of this show.
Yeah, please at the very worst pod on Twitter.
Well, this has been our Halloween Spooktacular. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you review us on iTunes. Check us out on whatever, Stitcher, anywhere you listen, anywhere you get your podcasts. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at The Very Worst Pod. You can email us at theveryworstpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know. I don't know. Your theories. Was that Bianca? Was that Latias? Do you care at all? What sort of things does Brock want to kiss? And the main thing we want you to tweet at us after this show is how much do you hate the ranking segment? We're not going to stop it, but we want to know how much you hate it. And how spooked out you were by this episode.
Yeah, this is creepy.
Creepy, ooh, spooky. A mummy just got here, so we better wrap up.
Jesus.
Guys, I want to wrap up, but we've never come up with like an outro
I
line.
get it. Mummy, wrap up. This
Yeah.
is good.
Oh no, a vampire's just jumped in. This sucks.
I want to leave.
Yeah, this is bad. We should end this.
We've never. I want to end it. It's just we've
By
never
the
come
way,
up with like an
did you
ending
already say our
line.
Twitter handles? You can follow me
Yeah.
at Ash Stillman. Did you already do this?
No, you can follow me at Matt Allcamp.
Yeah, okay, sure. You can follow me at Pat Reed. Can we?
Yeah.
This is our Halloween Spooktacular.
Uh-huh.
Play the Monster Mash and fade that out as we go, or is that like a rights issue?
Yeah, we can play the Monster Mash and fade it out as we go, but we also need like a goodbye tagline.
Oh, well,
We
that
just
one's
don't-
easy. We've already got that.
Yeah.
No, we haven't yet.
No, bye.
And suddenly,
Bye.
to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
he did the mash.
He did the monster